Hey everyone, Connie here with a little bit of an update slash discussion video regarding future and current and past first impressions reactions. So this is something I've actually been thinking about making for a while and talking about for a while, like for at least a few weeks. But I definitely decided to make after doing this week's two uh, first impressions reactions. Since we don't normally do two a week, I really got to think about this week because of that. So um, there's a couple things I want to state here. Um, first off, first off, um, I'm going to try. Now, this is not, I'm not going to guarantee anything because it would be impossible for me to do that with any level of certainty. I'm going to try, though, to make this continue to be a weekly thing because there's been some times where it's like, oh, I haven't gotten to it this week or whatnot, or sometimes there might be a few weeks where I don't do anything. But as long as I might try to make this a weekly thing where it's like literally like once a week, probably on Monday, I do a first impressions reaction. That's my goal here. That's what I've been trying to do lately. Um, it'll probably be on Monday just to get it out of the way. Plus, I usually have the Monday and Tuesday stuff recorded ahead of time. The weekend during the weekend because of just that stuff coming out, then me wanting to get to it as quickly as possible. But either way, so yeah, that's the first thing. I'm going to try, but I will not promise anything. There might be some weeks where it might be delayed multiple days, or some weeks where I just don't do something. But that being said, that goes into the second thing I want to talk about, and the more important thing, um, kind of what the deal is going forward with when I get to certain when I get to certain series reactions that I said I was going to continue on. Because you may have noticed there's been some series that I've kind of just decided to get to earlier than others, despite having done their first impressions reaction after others. For example, I still have not gotten to continuing Watchmen yet. I did a first impressions reaction to Watchmen, and I have not continued with the series yet. Yet, I did a first impressions reaction to Jujutsu Kaisen much later than that, and I've already continued that. As I said, my reasoning for continuing Jujutsu Kaisen so quickly was that I had just kind of become obsessed with the series and wanted to continue it as quickly as possible. I had seen the first episode with other people's reactions over and over again, and I just kept getting more excited, so I wanted to continue. And as I've stated back then and everything, it's like it's my channel. I can kind of do that if I want to get to something a little quicker. But I've kind of noticed that with other things too that I've been reacting to lately. Stuff like Spy Family. It's like, yeah, I want to get back to more of that because I keep seeing people talking about Spy Family. I keep seeing people praising Spy Family, and while I'm not getting like all these big spoilers outside of like already knowing that the mother character exists, it's like I don't want to end up getting spoiled, and I really do want to continue it. So it's like it's that question of should I continue to put it off, or should I get to things that I already had chosen first, that I already had chosen to continue on first from past first impressions reaction stuff like Watchmen or Agent Carter or so on and so forth. And there were a few different ideas I was kind of thinking about over these past few weeks. One idea was to section off a day or two of the week to specifically be for these shows that I did first impressions reactions. The problem is we already have like sectioned off days for poll series for donation rewards. Um, One Piece kind of gets its own day just because, it's long running and everything. And it's like eventually we'll just have like no slots left for anything else, for just regular stuff that I just want to get to. And so I was thinking about it, and let me look here. Let me open this up real quick. So we have right now we have the One Piece slot. Let's just count that as its own slot because again, it's a continuous thing, pretty much a permanent fixture on the channel. We have currently two donation reward slots, one for Owl House and one for Kipo. Mind you, I had planned to bring the Owl House one back to a regular slot afterwards, because the only reason we brought it back as a second slot, a second donation reward slot in the first place, was because I didn't want to wait for the other donation reward to finish, and I didn't want to just put it on hold. I just wanted to bring Owl House back right away. I did not want to wait on that when that came back. And then we have a poll series. So 4 out of the 7 reactions each week are a specific slot, basically. And our other 3, OK Kyo, Close Enough, and Jujutsu Kaisen are basically just my choice. Now, mind you, Jujutsu Kaisen is one that I did a first impressions reaction to. So let's say I made that slot, currently the Saturday slot. Let's say I made that into a first impressions continuation slot. So then there would only be 2 shows that would be just, or 2 slots that would be for things that I just choose. But let's say I made 2 of them, then there would only be 1. And so it's just like, even if I change Owl House 2, it's like, I don't know. You know what I mean? It's just one of those cases where it's a very questionable thing to figure out. I think if I did do it, I would have to do 2 slots for these first impressions continuations as well, because the problem is there's quite a few of them at this point. And I've kind of figured them into 2 categories. The ones that I am extremely hyped to continue, and the ones that I'm just interested in continuing. For example, obviously Spy Family would be the extremely hyped category, and Watchmen would be the interested in category. And it's not that the first episode of Watchmen was bad and that I'm not excited to continue it at all. It's just I'm not as much so. It's a much smaller level of excitement. That's why I say interested. I definitely want to continue it, but it's not as high a level. So again, the only thing I can really think of doing is if I did narrow out 2 slots for it, it would kind of have to be either they would just both be slots in general, in which case I'd probably still prioritize the shows I really want to do, or one of the slots would be specifically for the hype shows and one would be for interested. But that could also become very unbalanced, because like you could end up having a show like where I get like a bunch of shows in a row where it's just, oh, I'm super hyped to continue these, like Jujutsu Kaisen, like Spy Family, or like one that I reacted to today. You could have a bunch of or you could have just it completely flooded with shows that I'm just kind of interested in. And then one slot will kind of take over the other, and then it'll end up having to converge over anyway. Probably just because of time, and who knows how that would end up going. So, and keep in mind, I'm kind of working through my thoughts on this as I'm speaking here, so keep that in mind. So I think the best option here would be to separate out a day or two for this, though. A day or two that would normally just be like a My Choice series anyway. Um, and I think the best days would probably be the days we actually currently have ones that were first impressions reactions on, which are Friday and Saturday. Both close enough in Jujutsu Kaisen were first impressions reactions. So I think that would be the best idea. So I'm going to label it right here. So Monday is One Piece Day. Obviously, that doesn't really change anything. Um, Tuesday and Wednesday are donation rewards for the time being. When I finish Owl House Season 2, then we're probably going to change that slot to just a Connie's Choice slot, while Wednesday will remain donation reward. So Thursday is a Connie's Choice. So once Owl House ends, then both Tuesday and Thursday will be just Connie's Choice slots, just whatever I want to get to or get back to at that moment. Friday through Saturday will both be impression continuations. I don't know how else to word it. Basically shows I did a first impressions to that I actively want to continue. There's specifically shows like that. And then Sunday will obviously remain our poll series. Now, this obviously means pretty much nothing for you guys. It's not going to really change anything. And it's not going to really change how I do first impressions reactions either. Those are still going to go at the same pace that they do. I'm not going to prioritize any shows. The shows that I do first impressions for in the first place are basically shows that I do not know what I'm going to think about going into them. It's shows that I feel like I need to see the first episode of before I decide if I'm actually going to continue reacting. That's kind of the point of doing the first impressions. So that's not going to change, and that's not going to change anything for the channel. Obviously, you don't see on the channel banner any of these slots labeled. It's not going to change anything with donation rewards or anything else. The only thing it's going to affect is that those two slots will now be just for those shows I did first impressions for, and so other shows that I would be continuing on otherwise would be elsewhere. For example, when I continue Hilda, since I already announced I would be continuing that, when I continue Hilda, that will just be a normal Connie's Choice slot. That will not be in the that would not be in any other slot because it's not a first impressions. I just reacted to that series on my own choice. So when we give that a second chance, I will be doing that in a regular Thursday slot or a Tuesday slot by that point. Whichever slot works out better to get it into first, basically. But a series like Cobra Kai, I believe that was a first impressions. And if I'm correct about that, which I can easily look up, if I'm correct about that, that would obviously have to be on the Friday or Saturday slot. First impressions reactions will only be in those two slots. And I think I'm going to do it to just where it's whatever I'm feeling like getting into. Because a series like Watchmen, not only is it just an interested rather than a hype series for me, it's also a heavy series. Like, it's Watchmen. And based on the first episode and everything as well, it's like, oh yeah, this is a heavy series for sure. And lately, for example, I have not been in the mood for a lot of heavy stuff. That's why I put Doom Patrol on hold, for example. I've just not been in the right headspace for a lot of emotionally heavy content. Um, so, yeah, you get the gist. The point is that um, I think it's just better. It's just a smarter idea to have them more to have them just both be regular slots. So it's like whenever one of them finishes, like for Jujutsu Kaisen or close enough. Close enough would obviously be first. I just replace it with whatever I want to get to next out of the first impressions that I have on my list. I think it would be the better, and it's a good idea to have two of them to make sure I can get to more things more quickly. Because some things I continue on, I might not continue on for good. Some things I might end up not liking as much. It's always possible. I'm continuing them off the bat because of my first episode impressions. So that can very much end up changing. I mean, look at Cuphead. The first episode really impressed the shit out of me, and then everything afterwards, not as much. um, so you never really know, anyways. But I think it's best to just have them both kind of be in their own in their own category, so I can just have it like I can just pick and take when I want to get to something. So I just wanted to make this video to let you guys know about that, to let you guys know what was going to go on with that. Again, it won't really change much from your point of view. You're still going to see series pop up. I'm still going to get to other ones. I still plan to do what I said I was planning to do with this year and get back to a bunch of shows that I unfairly dropped or dropped too early or whatnot. That's still happening. I plan to get back to other shows that I haven't reacted to in quite a while. That I just I finished a season and I need to get back to it with the next season, stuff like that. None of that's changing. It's just those two slots are now specifically going to be the only slots that these kind of things appear on. Unless I do a first impressions and someone and maybe I don't like it as much but someone really wants me to continue it and they donate for it, that would be like the donation reward slot would take precedence over that. So just saying on that, but that might not happen anyway. But yeah, so again, it's not really going to change too much with the schedule or anything. Nothing about that is like really having a huge update. It's just more of what to expect on those 2 days, on Fridays and Saturdays from here on out. And again, once Owl House Season 2 ends, since we'll have a break before Season 3, obviously I'll put the Tuesday slot back into Connie's choice, so we'll still have plenty of stuff going that are just things that I want to get to anyway, that I want to get back to in some cases. So yeah, thank you all so much for understanding per usual. Thank you all so much for continuing to support the channel, and I hope you're excited for more things to come. I hope you enjoyed today's first impressions reactions, and yeah, for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See you all next time.